Hello and welcome to my fifth playthrough of the engagement scenario is in Pacific War. This time we're having a look at the battle for Impal and Kohima that happened in March 1944. I have decided that this will be the last installment of the playthroughs of the engagement scenarios. I've had a look at the last three after this one, and basically it's just repeating what we already learned, so it adds nothing new when it comes to learning the rules. So in the next installment I will be going through the extended example of play instead and make a video presentation of that. So we see three Japanese divisions and there are 4 British units, or actually British and Indian. And the only new thing in this scenario is that armor also is participating on the British side. So this is a rather simple and quick scenario, but it's also hard. I doubt that I will manage, because the Japanese player has to both take control of Impal, which is here, and also Kohima, which is there. And since the British have an armor unit with troop quality 6, this is going to be a difficult one. But let's try and see what happens. So we don't have that many options, because we cannot reach Kohima here, because this is a mixed terrain hex and it costs 6 movement points to go through that. This unit can go there for 2 movement points since there is a river, but then it cannot reach Kohima because it's going to cost 6 to enter that hex. The only way through is go to Impal. And towards Impal there is a cost of 3 for this one. So the plan will be to go through Impal. So we start by looking at the lighting phase. It's irrelevant. It's not even stated in the scenario, but doesn't matter for ground combat. And then there is advantage determination. That's the Japanese player. And then we have advantage moment. So I think the idea here is going to be that we just use all the units and enter this Impal hex. So this one pays 3 to enter there, and these two will pay 2 plus 3, 5, so they're all in the Impal hex. And then we also need a marker to signify that we enter through this hex site. And that concludes the advantage moment. And then we have air missions. There are no air units, and then there is no naval and no more bombardment, so we reach ground combat. So in the ground combat phase we have to designate lead units, and for the British we'll be using the 7th Armor Brigade, and for the Japanese we use the best troop quality division, which is the 33rd. So these are the lead units. Then we compare the attacker troop quality of 5 with the defender troop quality of 6, and on the table we see that we get a 9. So already this is not so good table. So with the troop quality differential column of 9, we check for modifiers. None is broken and there is no amphibious assault. The combat is occurring in hill hex side, or hill hex. That's 2 column shift to the left. So from 9 we go to 7. And then we have an optional rule that I'll be using through my playthroughs. And if there is any armor, then there is another shift in the direction that supports the army, that helps the army unit. So in this case we go from a 7 to 6. So this is really a tough column for the Japanese. So to stand a chance, I hope we can roll a 0 or something really low. And we roll an 8, so that's the opposite what we needed. So 6 step losses for the Japanese and 1 step loss for the Allies, and there is a mandatory retreat for the Japanese. So all 6 have to be taken on the lead unit up until it has 1 step left, and then we can start distributing the rest of the hits on the other units, and the 7th Armor gets 1 hit. And due to the mandatory retreat, we're forced to roll a troop quality check for the Japanese lead units, which is 5, and we roll a 7, so that means it's failed. So since we failed the troop quality check, it means that the 6 step losses that we acquired, they stick, so to say, and then we are forced to retreat out of the hex. And they also, all of them become broken. It's a very good start for the Japanese. And then we just put the counters back in the hex. And then the British have the option to pursue, and then we have to roll, if we want to use this option, we have to roll less than the lead unit's troop quality, which is 6. So the Allied are going to try to pursue, and they roll an 8, so they fail with the pursuit. It's worthwhile mentioning here that if I had succeeded in the pursuit, the armor couldn't have joined because it cannot move into the hex. As you remember, it can only move into a clear hex or along a transport route, and neither exists in the movement in the pursuit. So had I succeeded, I would have been forced to leave the armor behind, but the other units could have pursued. But in this case we failed. The only penalty for failing is being deactivated. It's not, the activation is not part of engagement scenarios, but for the future it's good to know. Okay, so now you have met armor, you have seen a pursuit that was not able to be done, and of course the Japanese has no chance of winning this scenario now. So I think we make this a short one so we can move along to more juicy bits like the extended example of play that I feel would be useful to have in a video format so you can follow along on the map. So thank you for watching this very short and intensive scenario, and see you when I get moving with the extended example of play. Please like and subscribe if you like what you see. Bye bye.